Hey, I'll be straight with you. The first night I set up the Hisense AX5140Q, I paused the movie mid-scene, not because it was boring, but because the sound literally put me in the middle of the moment. This isn't for someone who's okay with Play audio that feels flat and distant. This is for the kind of person who instinctively notices when something actually sounds right and refuses to settle for less. Before we go any further, take a second to check the current price and whether this soundbar is in stock. Products with real Dolby Atmos feel tend to disappear quickly once people hear what they're missing. You know that feeling, you're watching something good and the image looks great, but the audio just doesn't match. Dialogue floats like it's stuck in a tunnel, bass either barely registers or booms without control, and those aerial effects everyone talks about never actually show up. That's the moment you realize you've outgrown compromise. When you switch to the AX5140Q, that frustration just evaporates. Sound starts moving around you instead of just blasting forward, and suddenly scenes feel alive in a way your old setup never achieved. Using it every day changes how your living room feels. Movies don't just play, they pull you in. Explosions hit with depth instead of thump without definition. Music sounds layered and more natural instead of two-dimensional. Even casual TV feels richer because the system isn't just louder, it's smarter about how it places audio in space. That's what performance feels like. Not just louder, but meaningful. Right now, check the price and stock again. Don't wait around hoping for some imaginary discount. Stock and pricing move fast, and hesitation can cost you. If you're sitting there wondering if Atmos and DTS actually matter, here's where that doubt flips into clarity. They're the reason sound doesn't feel glued to the screen anymore. Developed 5.1.4 channels mean height and depth exist instead of being theoretical. Those 7 EQ modes let you tune the whole thing to your space instead of guessing blind. Once you hear that kind of control, anything less starts sounding limited, not adequate. One thing that genuinely surprised me was how well it handled dialogue. You don't constantly reach for the remote to boost voices over effects anymore. Spoken words feel anchored, clear and present, even in chaotic scenes. Owning something built at this level changes how you relate to your space. You don't squint at scenes wishing the sound matched. You don't mute because dialogue is buried under effects. Every viewing feels intentional and balanced. Sound feels layered and immersive, dialogue feels anchored and clear, bass feels controlled and punchy, music feels rich and warm, feels like your room finally listens back. Take some time to dial EQ just right, not as compact as tiny soundbars. At some point you stop comparing tech specs and start listening to what your instincts have been telling you, and this is usually the system you kept circling back to in your mind anyway. Check the price and stock. Trust that instinct, and don't let this be one of those upgrades you delay and regret later.